Sulf-Fersan in the Field, Real Issues, Real Solutions is brought to you by Newport-Fersan Jamaica Limited, the first on the land.
Time now for Fersan in the Field, Real Issues, Real Solutions. And today our focus is on improving crop performance through effective soil amelioration. To guide us through, we have Branatic Neufville, and he's an agronomist with Newport-Fersan. Branatic, first of all, let me wish for you and your family, and indeed the entire team there at Newport-Fersan, Jamaica, a happy, happy new year.
Thank you very much for that. And I also wish you and your team as well a happy and a prosperous new year as well.
Thank you so very much. Benedict, there are a couple of things that I want you to do at the start of this conversation. First of all, we need to understand why it is important for us to focus on this topic that we're touching on today, the improvement of crop performance through effective soil amelioration. And I want you to explain as well what amelioration is.
Okay, Ms. Alger. So, when we talk about improving crop yield, the conversation it often begins with fertilizers. How much nitrogen to apply, whether potassium should be increased, or which formulation gives the best response. But the reality is that long before the crop can benefit from any fertilizer, it must first grow in a soil environment that allows the nutrients to be accessed, absorbed, and of course, efficiently utilized. Now, that environment is governed primarily by the soil condition, the soil pH, and the chemical balance playing a central role. To illustrate myself here, the soil can be compared to the foundation of a building, whereas you may invest in high quality materials, modern designs, and advanced systems. But if the foundation is compromised, everything that is built on top suffers. Now in farming, fertilizers, improved seed varieties, and irrigation, these are all the visible investments. The soil, however, is the hidden system, and when it is chemically imbalanced, those investments really deliver any value, right? Now, a useful everyday comparison is like a radio signal. Now, if the signal is tuned correctly, the message comes through clearly. However, if it is slightly off, the sound it becomes weak or becomes distorted, right? And if it is far off, the message is lost altogether. The soil pH works in a similar way. When the pH is within the right range, the nutrient, in this case I would say the signal, it reaches the plant clearly. But when the pH is too low or too high, those signals become distorted and the nutrient efficiency drops dramatically. Now, as you this now leads us to the question, what is a soil ameliorant? Now, a soil ameliorant now is any material that when applied to the soil, its primary purpose is for correcting a chemical, physical, or a biological limitation, rather than directly supplying the nutrients for immediate crop growth. In other words, Mr. Soil ameliorants do not feed the plant directly. They fix the soil so that the soil can feed the plant properly. Now, most soil amelioration efforts tend to focus on correcting pH imbalance, as both acidic and alkaline conditions reduce fertilizer efficiency and root performance. Right? Now, in soil that are too acidic, nutrient imbalance and toxic elements, they restrict root and overall crop growth, while in soils that are too alkaline, micronutrients, they become chemically unavailable. Now, alongside pH correction, soil ameliorants such as humic substances also plays an integral role by improving nutrient retention, soil structure, and biological activity. And this now helps the soil to respond more effectively once chemically balance is restored. However, effective soil amelioration must always begin with soil testing. Farmers, again, a soil test provides accurate information on the pH, the nutrient levels, organic matter, and other key indicators. Now, Mr. Without this information, selecting an ameliorator becomes like guesswork and may worsen existing imbalances. Now, just as how a mechanic would not just adjust an engine without first diagnosing the problem, the farmers must rely on soil testing to determine exactly which soil constraints exist and which corrective approach is required. Ultimately, Mr. Althea, improving crop performance begins below the surface, and soil amelioration creates the foundation for better fertilizer efficiency, healthier roots, and of course, sustainable yield improvement.
Excellent. Thank you so very much for that, Branatic. Very comprehensive. And I do love your analogy using the radio, because if you're not tuning that radio properly, you're not going to hear exactly what it is that you want to hear. You're going to get static and all kinds of things going on. So, in much the same way, if you're not taking care of the soil, you're not going to get the kinds of yields or crop yields that you require or desire. All right. So, why do soils with low organic matter struggle to support high yields, even when the pH appears acceptable, Branatic?
All right, so soils with low organic matter metals here face a hidden but very significant limitation, and that is they lack the natural infrastructure, I would say, that allows nutrients and water to be efficiently retained, delivered, and recycled for crops. Now, even if the soil pH is within an acceptable range, the absence of sufficient organic matter can severely compromise that crop growth and yield. Organic matter plays multiple critical roles. Firstly, it improves the soil structure, right? Soils rich in organic matter are crumbly and well aerated, right? And this allows roots to penetrate deeply and spread out to access water and nutrients. Now, in soils with low organic matter, the soil often becomes compacted, heavy, or poorly drained. And what this does is that it restricts root growth. Now, limited root growth means that the crops cannot explore the soil efficiently, and what this does is that it leads to uneven growth, wilting under stress, and reduced nutrient uptake. Secondly, organic matter, it acts as a reservoir for nutrients, right? Now, many essential nutrients, especially nitrogen and phosphorus and their micronutrients, they attach to organic particles, right? And are released slowly as microbes decompose these materials. Now, when organic matter is lacking, nutrients applied to fertilizer are more prone to leaching, and this reduces fertilizer efficiency and makes crops become more dependent on repeated application. And what this does, that it increases the cost for farmers and labor as well. Thirdly, organic matter, it supports microbial life in the soil, and this drives decomposition, nutrient cycling, and disease suppression. Without it, Mr. Althea, microbial activity slow down significantly, reducing the natural replenishment of nutrients and weaken the soil resilience. Crops in these soils often show slower, patchy performance, right? And poor stress tolerance, even when pH and fertilizers are within the recommended ranges. Now, Mr. Althea, think of it like using a sponge to hold water. A thick, healthy sponge absorbs and releases it slowly as needed. Similarly to nutrient-rich organic soils, now a thin worn-out sponge cannot hold water effectively. Similarly to low organic soils, they cannot hold the nutrient or the water effectively, I would say, for the plant, even if the basic chemistry, which is the pH, is suitable. In essence, low organic matter limits root growth, reduces nutrient retention, decreases microbial activity, and lowers the soil resilience. Even with ideal pH and fertilizer input, crops struggle to achieve high yield. This is why rebuilding organic matter alongside pH correction is a crucial step, Mr. Althea, in achieving sustainable and productive soil.
All right, Branatic, and because I know the farmers want the answer, how do you go about getting or creating or making that organic matter? What does one have to do?
All right. So farmers can rebuild soils with low organic matter to improve nutrient retention and resilience. One of the most effective tools for achieving this is the use of humic acid, which represents the most stable and biological fraction of organic matter in the soil. Now, humic acid, which of course we offer here at Newport-Fersan, it works by improving the soil's cation exchange capacity, right? Which in simple terms, it is the soil's ability to hold on to cationic nutrients such as potassium, calcium, and magnesium rather than allowing them to leach away. Now, in low organic soils, the nutrients often move through the soil too quickly, right? Especially after rainfall or irrigation. Now, the humic acid is acts as that's like a nutrient reservoir, holding on to these elements in the root zone and releasing them gradually as the plant needs them. In addition to nutrient retention, the humic acid significantly improves soil structure. It encourages the formation of soil aggregates, and better irrigation means improved drainage during heavy rain and better moisture retention during dry periods. Now, this directly enhances root development and increases the crop tolerance to environmental stress. A relatable way to think of it, Mr. Althea, is upgrading from a thin, worn-out mattress to one with proper cushioning and support. Now, even if the bed frame is strong, a poor mattress often leads to discomfort and poor rest. But the humic acid now, it acts like that cushioning, that nice king or queen size mattress, right? It absorbs the shock, distributes the weight evenly, and support long-term comfort. Similarly, it creates a supportive environment for roots, nutrients, and water to function efficiently.
All right, Branatic, and that takes us to the break. So we're going to clear commercials, and when we come back, we're also going to be hearing from farmer Roisin Thompson.
Listen to Power 106 FM. The time is now
6:30.
Farmers! Are diamondback moths, cabbage loopers, armyworms, budworms, cutworms, melonworms, aphids, leaf miners, whiteflies among those pests threatening to strike your crop? Well, wait no longer. Strike first with First Strike Insecticide from Newport-Fersan, Jamaica Limited, the first on the land.
We are inside the feature Fersan in the Field, Real Issues, Real Solutions. We have with us this morning Branatic Neufville, and Branatic is agronomist for Zone 1. He has been talking to us about the importance of taking care of the soil, and of course, all of that taking care of the soil will lead to improvements in crop performance. But in order for you to do all of that, you have to make sure that you are giving to the soil what it has lost or what it never had in the first place. And so he is walking us through the process of soil amelioration this morning. How do you improve the soil to ensure that you have good crop performance? So improving crop performance through effective soil amelioration this morning is our topic. But along the way, as he's engaging us in conversation and sharing all of that information with us, we are introducing to the conversation at least one individual who has been following the recipe, yes, that is set in motion or set in place for us to better understand this. And I speak of Roisin Thompson. Roisin is certainly no stranger to this program. He has had more than one conversation with us And so he's very much used to us now here at Farm Talk. Roshane, a happy new year to you, my brother. How are you doing?
Hi, Miss Althea. Happy New Year. I'm not bad. Thank you very much.
Thank you, and it's good to have you back with us. What
Yes.
kind of year did you have last year, Roshane?
Uh to be honest with you, last year was a good year. I've learned a lot, and apart from the fallout of Melissa, I think it would be an excellent year for everybody.
Melissa just came right along and destroyed all the gains that we made throughout the year for
I'm
some
telling you,
people.
yes, it was devastating, but we're rebuilding.
And when you say devastating and we're rebuilding, are you talking about damage that you suffered directly to your farm as well?
Yes, definitely, yes.
What kind of damage did you suffer?
I lost most of my crops, tomato, sweet pepper, cabbage, carrot, soil erosion. It was tough.
What causes you though to be so bright and chipper this morning? Because you don't sound down in the doldrums. You sound like a man who has a formula and who is focused on getting back to full production. What is causing you to be sounding so optimistic despite those challenges?
Well, to be honest with you, the knowledge that I have gained, I have made serious progress from speaking to the agronomists that are around, especially first and agronomist, Mr. Jones, Sir J. Jones. He has been helping me. So I am pretty confident in what I am doing because my results are improving.
Excellent, excellent. What you grow a range of crops, so you don't just focus on one crop. What is going on your farm currently?
All right, so currently I have carrot that I'm going to harvest this week into next week, and I planted back my sweet peppers, and they're currently blossoming right now and putting on fruits. I also have cabbage right now that have just fertilized and to be molded, and pretty much doing some land prep for watermelon. Have irrigated the land already. The grass have been growing, so I need to go in and apply the herbicide to get rid of those new emerge weeds, and then I can go ahead and set my seeds.
All right, certainly sounds good. All right, that
Yes.
brings me now to a product that I hear that you use that has been providing you some excellent results. I hear you applied Calci-Fersan to your crops. What
Yes.
differences did you notice?
All right. So first and foremost, the soil test is definitely recommended to farmers. It was recommended to me by First Hand, which they assisted me with for pretty reasonable price, and based on the soil results, based on the test results, they went through the test result with me, and to be honest with you, my soil was very acidic, and the nutrients were very poor in that soil. So they recommended the Calci-Fersan to me, which is it's a limestone form that Fersan technically developed a fertilizer. And to be honest with you, I have been using a lot of different fertilizer on that piece of land, and the plants were yellow, they were stagnant. You know, I wasn't getting the yield. The result was very poor.
So
And
that is because something was missing. There was
yes,
there was a missing element there.
element, yes, yes. So
Yeah.
apparently the pH probably was too high, and the soil was very acidic. So
So having added the Calci-Fersan, the ameliorant, how did that change or turn around your fortunes?
Yes, well, I've seen tremendous improvement in the crops. The results have improved significantly.
Excellent.
The plants have more vigor. You understand? Greener plants, the blossom remains on the trees, and not having that blossom drop that I used to have. And I'm telling you, I currently have some cucumber on that piece of land now, and I don't know if, but it has yield in abundance, and
Mm.
we are technically suffering as farmers with the glut of cucumbers on the market now.
Look at that. And and that is what tends to happen when you have disasters. You and farmers go back in and they produce with a lot of gusto. We find ourselves in that position sometimes. And that would explain why every turn you turn, Roshane, the,
Yes,
the, the, the crop that the crop that you're getting the most of in terms of vegetables is
yes.
cucumbers. So we have lots and lots of it. Uh, Bless you, my brother. I'm going to have to leave it there, but thank you so very much. I'm excited for you because you and I we've had conversations over the years, and every time I talk to you, you come back with a little bit more energy than the last time that you were here, which means that something good is happening for you, and I'm very happy for that.
Thank you. Yes.
Rush.
You're welcome, Miss Althea.
All right, take care. And Branatic, let me come back to you and talk a little bit about how it is that we correct the whole issue of that pH balance. How can acidic soils be corrected in a way that improves root health, nutrient availability, and long-term productivity, Branatic?
All right, Miss Althea. Now, correcting acidic soil is a fundamental step for improving the crop performance. And one of the most effective ways to do this is by applying the Calci-Fersan, which is a high quality calcium carbonate based soil ameliorant, as Mr. Roshane just mentioned. Now, the Calci-Fersan, it works in multiple ways to restore soil health. Firstly, Mr. Althea, it neutralizes excess acidity and raising the pH towards a more optimal range where the crops can thrive. By doing so, it reduces the solubility of toxic elements like aluminum and manganese, which can damage roots in highly acidic soils. With these toxic elements controlled, root system can grow deeper and branch more efficiently, and this allows the plant to explore more soil for water and nutrients. Stronger roots, Mr. Althea, also improve the crop resilience during drought, to drought and waterlogging. Secondly, the Calci-Fersan, it supplies calcium, which is an essential nutrient for cell wall development and membrane stability. Calcium also strengthens roots and shoots, thus improve nutrient uptake efficiency and help the plant resist disease and physical stress. For example, our crops like your tomatoes or your peppers, which often show tip burn or blossom end rot when calcium is deficient, is a problem that can be alleviated by proper soil calcium levels through soil ameliorants like Calci-Fersan. Thirdly, Calci-Fersan, it contributes to long-term soil productivity, right? Over time, it improves the soil structure by promoting aggregation, and as we mentioned before, a better aggregation enhances water infiltration, reduces compaction, and increases aeration. In simple terms, it transforms the hard acidic soil into a more friable, sponge-like environment where the roots can move freely, water is retained appropriately, and nutrients are more accessible. So in practice, Mr. Althea, farmers should always apply Calci-Fersan based on a soil test recommendation. Now the rate depends
And we
on the
heard
severity.
We heard Roshane saying that it is important that soil testing is really critical. All right, I am fast approaching the break, so I just wanted to jump right in before we have you launch into the other part of what you're going to say, which is really a
Okay.
focus on the whole issue of the alkalinity and the practical steps that can be taken to manage alkaline soils and improve nutrient uptake efficiency. So we'll take a look at that when we come back from the break, Branatic. Also want to take a look at how farmers can rebuild the soil with low organic matter. What do you have for them? And of course, we are going to wrap up with a little look back at some of what you have discussed here this morning. So quite a bit still for us to share. Let's take the break. All right, so we're into the final segment of the program for today. We'll have with us Branatic Neufville, and we're inside the feature First and in the Field, Real Issues, Real Solutions. Before we took the break, Branatic was talking to us about how acidic soils can be corrected in a way that improves root health. And Branatic, we also have to share what practical steps can be taken to manage alkaline soils and to improve nutrient uptake efficiency as well.
Okay, so managing alkaline soils, it requires a deliberate and a targeted approach, because high pH affects nutrient chemistry rather than nutrient quantity. And one of the most effective and practical tools for addressing this challenge is the use of Sulf-Fersan, which is a soil ameliorant that is formulated at Newport-Fersan to gradually reduce the soil pH and restore nutrient availability. Now, Sulf-Fersan, it works by supplying elemental sulfur, which soil microorganisms convert into sulfuric acid through natural biological processes. This allows the soil pH to be lowered gradually without shocking the soil system or damaging the roots. Now, as the pH moves closer to the optimal range, nutrients such as iron, zinc, manganese, copper, and boron, they shift back into plant available forms, dramatically improving nutrient uptake efficiency. Another practical benefit of Sulf-Fersan is its role in supplying sulfur, an essential nutrient for protein synthesis, enzyme activity, and chlorophyll formation. Now, as sulfur becomes available, crops often show a deeper green color, stronger growth, and improved yield quality, especially in sulfur-deficient soil. For the best results again, Sulf-Fersan should always be applied based on soil test recommendations.
Right, and that is, of course, excellent advice that is being provided for us here on the program. We are always very happy to get this because it means that the farmers are able to keep abreast of the information. They're also learning along the way. All right, so I just want you then to touch a little bit on how soil testing and that targeted amelioration work, they work hand in hand to improve the yields sustainably, because that is also critical, Branatic.
That's right. Now, soil testing and targeted soil amelioration, as you rightly mentioned, they work together, much in the same way diagnosis and treatment work in medicine. One without the other is incomplete, right? Soil testing, it identifies the exact constraints limiting crop performance, while soil amelioration, it corrects those constraints in a precise and efficient manner. Together, they create a sustainable pathway to higher yields and healthier soils, right? Soil testing, it provides a clear picture of the soil condition, the pH level, which includes the pH level, nutrient balance, organic matter content, etc. Right? Now, this information, Mr. Althea, it tells us what is wrong, how severe the problem is, and where intervention is needed. Without this data, farmers may apply input and intervene. Without this data, farmers may apply input blindly, which can waste resources and worsen imbalances and reduce long-term soil health. Right? Targeted soil amelioration then uses this data to correct the specific limitation identified, right? So whether the issue is excess acidity or high alkalinity or low organic matter, the soil environment must be adjusted so that nutrients can move freely, Mr. Althea, roots can develop properly, and beneficial soil microorganisms can function effectively. Now, once the soil environment is corrected, fertilizers become far more efficient and crops respond more consistently. A way to think of it is like tuning a musical instrument. You may have high quality strings, right? But if the instrument is out of tune, the music will never sound right. Soil testing tells you which strings are out of tune, right? And the soil amelioration brings them back in harmony so the entire system can perform as intended. From a long-term perspective, this approach protects the soil health and the farm profitability. So instead of overloading soils with fertilizers, farmers focus on correcting the soil foundation. Balanced soils tend to retain nutrients better, right? They tend to resist erosion and compaction and recover faster from stress. Over time, yield stabilize, input cost decrease, and overall soil productivity improves rather than declining.
Is there, Branatic, anything else that you want to share with us? Anything that you want to perhaps reiterate so it sticks with the farmers?
Most definitely, I want to first advise our farmer that sustainable yield improvement, it always starts from the ground up, not the other way around, right? So when we understand our soils, farmers, through proper testing and respond with targeted soil amelioration, what we are doing is that we are essentially moving away from the guesswork to informed decision making. Because the reality is that, healthy soils are not built overnight, but with the right knowledge and the right tools, farmers can consistently turn their soils into a reliable foundation for profitable and sustainable agriculture. So always start with your soil testing so that you can make that targeted approach and correct the specific soil constraint that is at hand.
Excellent. Branatic, I thank you so very much for this morning. And I really want to wish for you and the entire Newport-Fersan team, Mr. Dennis Valdez, your technical manager, Melvin Henry, your sales manager, and Denton Alvaranga, all of the agronomists, the people who are working in your sales department, the entire team, all the best for this brand new year. You clearly are committed to ensuring a much stronger agriculture and fisheries sector, and your work in the year it just ended has been extensive and very important, critical to the development of good farm practices, good agronomic practices. And I know that this year is going to be a fantastic year for you. You're all leading with a lot of heart, working with a lot of heart out in the field to help the farmers who themselves have a lot of heart and a passion for the work that they're doing. So thank you so very much for having shared with us today.
Thank you very much. Thanks for having me.
All right, a pleasure. Branatic Neufville there, and he is agronomist with Zone 1 with Newport-Fersan. And this morning we focused our energies on better understanding soil amelioration. How does it work? What can it do? And of course, helping us to better understand how, as farmers, you can all contribute more to national development by maintaining a focus on issues such as understanding the soil, and where there is that you have deficiencies, on fixing those deficiencies. A quick word and then we are heading to the closing moments of the show.
Fersan in the Field, Real Issues, Real Solutions was brought to you by Newport-Fersan Jamaica Limited, the first on the land.